What for them, for Ajax, Bayern fans, is winning the league. For us, it's qualifying for Euro. I think we celebrate even more, maybe.
The only country I've been to where that is not the case is Germany and Poland. Like all the other countries I've been to, it highly depends on the game you are visiting.
Crying. I've actually first 3 seasons bottling promotion, and also when we got relegated, I cried.
How fucked up as a fan
But
must
is
you
it in the
feel?
Netherlands? No matter how shit we are on the pitch, as long as I can go there, next week I go with my dad, 57,000 in the stadium. It's just beautiful, man.
In a world obsessed with glory, it is easy to chase the shine of silverware, to follow the biggest clubs, the global giants, the teams that win and win again. But some choose a different path. Not the one paved in glory, but the one that somehow in modern days is far from obvious. The path of upsets, losing against teams you never imagined it was possible of losing to. But also the path where the scoreboard doesn't matter as much as the faces around you. Because supporting your local isn't about convenience or trophies. It's about belonging. It's where strangers become friends. Where loyalty isn't always easy, but it's always worth it. That loyalty, the kind that stays when the lights fade away, will always reward you.
So why do people stick with a small club down the road rather than the elite giant? And what makes that connection deeper than fame? What can we learn from choosing hard over hype? Lots of questions. Let's talk about it.
Yes, welcome to a new episode. We have a special guest again.
Yeah.
We are walking
Nice
up our
one, bro.
guest.
So many guests.
My dear friend Sander,
Nice to be here.
tell us something about yourself and what it means to you to support your local club.
Well, nice to be here again. I'm Sander, 25, born and raised in Utrecht. And also still supporting Utrecht because I was born and raised with it. And what it means to support your local club, I think that it adds an extra dimension to your environment. So for instance, you were born and raised in the city and now you also support the local club. So most of your friends already do. When you walk around the city, you can feel the club and the other way around, vice versa. So I think that's what makes it special to support your locals rather than any team in the country.
What are some examples when you are in a city or when you are with your friends in a stadium that you're like, this is my home, my second home?
No, it actually happened last week. I was preparing for an away day, and in the end, when I took the bus, I saw some guys that were also going down to Neude to get some beers. I was like, there are some other fans, and we're also going. So I feel connected to the city, and the city is connected to the club.
Yeah.
Is it your whole family support Utrecht always, or are you like the only one now?
Nah, it's actually the entire family. Yeah.
Okay,
So
because it runs in the family for generations.
Yeah. I could walk, and then my dad took me to the stadium. Actually, I've never been even able to support another club. So
No chance.
no chance ever.
Your family would have disowned you.
Nah. I wouldn't go that far, but it might happen actually if I start saying like I support Feyenoord, then my dad would probably say, okay, no more car rides for you.
No, but that's what you see a lot. Like when I ask fans around the world, like what made you support this club? Because my dad does, right? Like a lot of times, or because the father took his son or daughter to the stadium for the first time, and that's all they know. But you have also a lot of friends who support different clubs, so it's not only that, right? Like, what is the feeling when you got older that this was the place to be?
Nah, it actually starts with, as a kid, mostly as a boy, you start playing football. And then eventually you start looking football on the TV and you start looking like several teams. Okay, you start with Ajax, Feyenoord, okay, what's the club? And most people just like pick a club, they play nice, I support them. But I didn't really feel it. So in the end, when my dad took me to the stadium, I was like, this is where I want to be. It's a short ride to the stadium. You feel connected to the city you already were born and raised in. So I enjoy going to Utrecht, but would never change it actually.
What sets Utrecht apart from the other clubs in the Netherlands for you?
I would say Utrecht is more for the people of the city rather than performing very well. So for instance, I enjoy a draw with a hard-fought mentality over an easy win with some bad players actually.
Yeah, because that's also what they sing a lot. Like, we always perform bad.
Yeah.
Like it's in one of their songs. Like, and the players, like, it's crazy because now they're doing very well. They are now fourth in the Eredivisie. But last week they reached qualification for Europe.
Oh, it's secure now.
Yeah,
official.
So,
You're gonna be Europe.
It's official. So this guy is right now in heaven.
Yeah.
But the players went to the away fans and then they sing the song like, we always play bad, always bad. Like, it's so funny.
Take the piss out of it, even though now it's going well.
No, but what he says, like, I've been, of course, also a lot of times to Utrecht, and that's what you really feel there. It's not about the big results. It's more about the mentality on the pitch. When the players put their hearts in, the fans go behind the team, and also they have a big rivalry against, for example, Ajax. And you just feel,
we talked about that one-sided rivalry. You said that.
From an objective point of view, I really see it as a one-sided rivalry. A lot of Utrecht fans made a comment to me that it's not true, but
nah, I think it is.
Let us know what you think.
You
say
I say it's one-sided because Ajax is mostly like the top-performing team in the league, and they always come over arrogant. So when they come to Utrecht, it's like, oh, we have to win this, we have to win this. You look at it weeks beforehand. We look at it as hatred is the game of the year.
Yeah.
But when Ajax comes to Utrecht, I think they mostly think like, oh, this is a difficult game, but not like the game.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, for them it's probably against Feyenoord.
But they always lose. Like also 2 weeks ago, Ajax is first in the Eredivisie and they lost 4-0 against
That's
Utrecht.
crazy, bro.
Like you can imagine the scenes on...
Did you secure Europe that game?
No, man, the week after, bro.
Okay,
But
They
it
had a pretty good 2 weeks.
what a run, man.
It's a really hidden gem in the Netherlands, especially if you go to the Bundesliga side where he is. That's like the ultra stand of the club.
Okay.
There's a good atmosphere. It's not, I would describe it as like a full 90 minutes going crazy. You have like a center part of it's like a small yellow wall. Like it's one
Okay,
big,
wow, that's a
like
big statement, man.
No, but it's true. Like and there's like a small center part that's crazy atmosphere, like Borussia Dortmund, because they had the center there.
Even there.
And then around that, everyone stands and everyone is behind the team. So I would definitely suggest go check out the game of FC Utrecht.
I guess I should do that, man.
What about you?
Yeah,
Where's your local team?
I'm the total opposite, man. I should have worn a Borussia Mönchengladbach shirt for this episode.
That's not allowed here.
Because it's not allowed, and I have one, but I'm not going to wear it. My local team is Gladbach, so that's a bit like I'm the opposite of you. Like I live in a city or town where it's like there's a lot of like everyone supports Gladbach, and even in the area there's Dortmund, Köln, Leverkusen, Schalke, so many big clubs, and I support none of them. I support a team 400 kilometers away, Hamburg.
What made you fall in love with HSV?
Actually, we have the shirt over there. Ivica Olic, bro. That player, and Mladen Petric, 2 Croatian guys up front, and Rafael van der Vaart as well. Van der Vaart was my idol back then as well. Those 3, 2007, 8, better times, man. We were Europa League semis twice in a row. We were top 3 in Germany. Now we're shit. But it was just a case of I watched football on TV. And like the classic where people also around the world watch football nowadays on TV, they start supporting Madrid, they start supporting Barça, Bayern, Man United, not nowadays, but Liverpool. Those teams, I started supporting Hamburg. So it's like not on that level, but also like fell in love because they just like them on TV, I guess.
But that's crazy, isn't it? Like you have so many different stories. For example, Sander, who grew up in his town and felt connected, and then there's you who fell in love with players that made you fall in love with the club.
Players, and also like I was always a nerd. Even at 5 years old, I used to be already a nerd.
You are a big nerd,
asked my mom to go on her laptop and check like Hamburg, check out the city, and saw some pics, and I was like, "Hey, amazing city! It's the best city in Germany. Let's be honest, yeah." One of the best, top 3 for sure. So I just fell in love with everything around it. Then I went to Hamburg for the first time at like 7, met some players at training. So that deal was sealed, bro. That was, here we go then.
So if you're watching this, please let us know also in the comments what made you fall in love with your club, because we love reading
Everyone has their own story there, and so many interesting ones.
What makes local football special?
I think it's kind of like what I already said. You feel connected to the city and it lives a bit more. And for instance, if you go to the stadium and it's in the city that you already have your activities in, as in parties and something you know better, then you can already go there afterwards. Because if you ride to the stadium like 1.5 or 2 hours, I can't imagine that you feel connected to the club or the stadium. So when you go there on your bicycle, you meet some friends over there who've been coming there for years. I feel more connection when it's nearby. And
how does the atmosphere of FC Utrecht, like the local team here, compare to an Ajax, Feyenoord, PSV? Because you have been also in the way of those stadiums. He's a diehard fan, guys. How does it compare?
I can imagine that about 90% of the people that come to Galgenwaard, Stadium of Utrecht, are from the neighborhood or live nearby Utrecht. Whereas, for instance, in Ajax, I think that not even 40%. Most of them come by car from the entire nation. Okay. So it's mostly local people visiting the club. It makes it more like friendly and more brotherhood.
But as a foreigner listening to this episode and deciding, hey, I want to go to Ajax or FC Utrecht, what would you say in terms of the atmosphere? Is it louder at Ajax, or is it or were you disappointed when you were there? What would you suggest?
I would suggest coming to Utrecht. I'm a bit biased.
Very objective.
I'm a bit biased, but I think that Utrecht is kind of like more... Ajax is a bit more reactive. As in...
like in England.
England is fully reactive and they mostly just joke about something that happens in the match. And Ajax have a lot of songs that the ultras sing throughout a large part of the match. But Ajax can sometimes be a team that's like singing when you're winning. And that's mostly for bigger clubs. That starts to happen because more tourists or one-type people start coming to the stadium, so they don't know the songs. But in Utrecht, smaller clubs and more local clubs, more people know the songs and create more atmosphere. So I would suggest coming to Utrecht, but again, a bit biased.
No, but I feel like there's some truth in that story, especially when you mention like when you're at a club where there are less tourists or less foreigner people, the atmosphere will always be improved because they know the songs, they know the traditions. I watched this video also on Twitter after the Arsenal tifo this week. The famous Arsenal.
We're going to talk about that still.
FIFA career mode.
He also mentioned like how heavily the atmosphere decreased over years in England now, and that is due to tourists and outpricing your fans.
Of course, that's the thing in England, Barça, Madrid as well. Would you say, so you said even in the Netherlands, Ajax, they already have like lots of tourists that don't know the songs? Because you said they come from all over the Netherlands, but they're still obviously Dutch, like whereas in England, they're from other countries where they might not even, or in Spain, they might not even speak Spanish, the Barça fans in the stadium, so they can't sing the songs. Yeah. But at Ajax, they're still Dutch, right? Or would you say there's many tourists from outside of the Netherlands as well?
Ajax is a bit of an outsider perspective because Amsterdam already had a lot of foreigners or native
for like stack dudes, they're all there. But did they go to Ajax games?
Atmosphere is mostly created by an ultra section, and Ajax definitely has an ultra section in the F side, so they make a lot of noise, but not for the entire 90 minutes.
Yeah, fair. They're also more used to winning, obviously. Then that's the case for every big club, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like also with a club like Ajax, like Feyenoord, they have a lot of big games during the year, which regular Eredivisie side doesn't have. So when they have a Borussia Dortmund at home, that's for them the biggest game, except Feyenoord, PSV, AZ at home. So when Borussia Dortmund, Man City, those teams come in, then they will show what they've got. And I feel like they don't have that essential when they win 5-0 against Fortuna Sittard, for example.
13-0 against Venlo.
13-0 against Venlo. And that's me all speaking for Feyenoord. Also in the Kuip, the stadium is famous for having a great atmosphere. But if you go to watch Feyenoord versus NEC, for example, it just won't live up to their Champions League atmospheres.
Doesn't mean as much to them.
The only country I've been to where that is not the case is Germany and Poland. Like all the other countries I've been to, it highly depends on the game you're visiting.
Yeah, I think also, for example, what comes to my mind, Scotland, Celtic, where in their league, they don't give a fuck except for against Rangers. Atmosphere is still good, but I mean, in terms of the size of the game. Yeah. And then in the Champions League, Celtic are like, that's their stage. Whereas for the other teams in the league, it's like completely different. But no, that's a good point. Bro, random one. Could you rank the top 5 best atmospheres in the Netherlands? You've been to so many, so you can rank them, huh?
I should have a say in this.
Number 5. Number 5.
Number 5. I would say FC Twente.
Wow.
Why? Maybe a bit underrated because it's kind of like in the, it's almost Germany. If you go in the way that you mostly joke around like, we're going to Germany next week. Actually going to Germany.
Do you say that in the Netherlands? Do you call them like Germany? Okay. It's not the Netherlands.
Yeah, I'm going next week to Twente Utrecht and it's mostly in the group chat. It's like, we're going to Germany next week.
Why that?
Because it's close to Germany.
Yeah, but
they have a big fan friendship.
Schalke, okay. Yeah. Okay, that's a good atmosphere.
Twente, Vak P, I've been there like twice and they make a lot of noise and they have their own songs. It's kind of like, again, a local club which they make a pretty good atmosphere. Even when like NEC at home and Ajax at home, they mostly just like step it up a notch. But I think they have pretty good atmosphere.
No, it's a fair ranking. Fair, nice. About Twente, I ranked them in my worst atmospheres I've been to because people hype them up so much. And I do get like 2 weeks ago, they made an amazing banner again. Yeah. But for me, I went against Ajax and I went against Fiorentina. That are 2 big games. Yeah. They are one of the clubs that don't have the most hate towards Ajax. They just hate them, but not the most.
So everyone hates them, that's normal.
There are like 13, 40 clubs in the Netherlands that despise Ajax. And they are not one of them. They just hate them, I would say. Like they don't have a reason to want them almost dead, like example for Utrecht. But a big game, there was literally no atmosphere the whole game. And it was in the Dutch Cup quarterfinal. Okay. So then I was like, Yeah, come on. If I have to rank, like I don't want to say worst, but it really disappointed. But now I hear again great stories. So I think for a top 5 ranking in the Netherlands, what we have to offer as a country, I think is a solid choice. He's been there twice, so
he
listen
knows.
to him and go to Twente. Try it out.
What's your number 4 then?
I'm going to go with a bit of an outsider again, Willem II.
Okay.
Willem II.
We've talked about them.
Willem II is insane.
Ken by a lot. Haven't been to the homestand of Willem II actually, so I still have to catch that away there. But when they come to Utrecht, they mostly make a lot of noise. And I can imagine that they lose quite a lot. Even now, they're probably going to get relegated and they fired their coach early this week. So not going very well in Tilburg. But still, despite them losing almost every game, they still make a lot of atmosphere. Like in the away end, if Utrecht stops singing for a bit, then Willem II starts rising up again. So I think they have pretty good atmosphere.
Yeah, Willem II, for me, one of the best ultras in the country. They just have an insanely good ultra scene for the capacity of the club, I would say.
Yeah, it's quite a small
So
stadium.
good number
right,
4, bro. Like he's giving some good rating. He has knowledge. Number 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, my knowledge might be doubted right now, but at number 3, I would still say Feyenoord. It is mostly the home games of Feyenoord. In the away section, they come with quite a lot of good banners actually, and away ends. So when they came to Utrecht early this year, they had pretty nice banner with Evership, and they start shaking it a bit. So that's very nice. But throughout the game, you don't hear them a lot.
Wow.
But when you come to the Kuip, especially on those Champions League nights, begin good argument on the big games. They put it up a notch in terms of atmosphere. I think in the Kuip, when the entire stadium starts singing and screaming, then it's pretty intimidating. And I would also say that is very good atmosphere. But mostly Feyenoord at home. Away,
When you
not really
were in the away end of the Kuip with FC Utrecht, you
Yeah.
have been there.
twice.
What was it like? Did you felt intimidated by the atmosphere during that game?
At the start, you come into a big stadium. You're like put away in like the top section of the stadium, so you don't see a lot. And obviously, Feyenoord fans are with a lot more, so you feel a bit intimidated. Like, okay, we're going to a big stadium, big game. We're gonna have to do this now. And then at the start, the entire stadium starts singing, and they really go all together. So that's quite intimidating. But throughout the game, it's a bit more reactive. You have a small section. Actually, I think I can imagine that they sing all game, but it doesn't really spread across the stadium that much, especially if the game is not going very well. So then it's pretty quiet. So at the start of the game, yes, I was quite intimidated, like, oh, this is a pretty big stadium, pretty good atmosphere. But throughout the game, not really that much.
Kinda is the problem when
Wow.
you don't have an ultra section.
Yeah, fair. But that's shocking. I thought I fully trust your knowledge there, but I thought Feyenoord would be first. Like my prediction was you ranked them first, but now what is your second place?
Going to be contradicting myself a bit, but I would still say Ajax, but go to the European games. Because in the Eredivisie, I've actually been there once. It's not that good, a bit more reactive, because it also depends on the scoreline and they mostly win the games. But on European nights, I've been there once as well. They make a hell of a lot of noise.
Yeah, in Europe, Ajax is famous for creating a good atmosphere. They also have entradas. Have you ever been to one?
No, I'm not an Ajax fan, so I haven't been to
You
an
can't go
Entrada,
there.
actually.
But have you seen the clips?
I've been in one. I've been in one against Feyenoord.
Oh yeah, no,
I've been to Ajax Feyenoord, but not in Europe. But already against Feyenoord, I
but
really
like an
love Ajax
entrada is
atmosphere.
like when they gather outside the stadium with 10,000 people and they go nuts.
That's
they
so
did it
sick.
again 4 weeks ago. Yeah, those are.
They only do it for big games, right?
Yeah, or when
But-
there's an anniversary. But yeah, those scenes are
That's crazy.
one of the craziest in Europe, I would say.
Yeah, I also put that in my video. I think that was really special. And I think that Ajax is one of the most famous clubs for that, right?
Yeah.
I've seen that I think Benfica do it, Sporting, I don't know. Benfica, I've seen many clips of Benfica doing it, but there's not many clubs in Europe that actually do this.
But not like with 10,000.
Maybe not. But in Germany, it's not even a thing. So that's really special, I think.
Yeah.
These
Okay, but
entradas.
hearing all of this, there's even
There's
a
still-
better one.
There's still one more. Now,
In
who's
the
that gonna be?
Netherlands, what is as a objective side, because he's not picking his own club
Yeah.
here. So he has been to almost every ground in the Netherlands. What is your number one?
NAC Breda.
NAC Breda.
NAC Breda. They've actually been in the lower division of the Dutch leagues throughout the years, and now they're back in the Eredivisie, so that's quite nice. But NAC Breda, I can't imagine that their stadium isn't full and not making noise. I actually imagine just NAC Breda is just a very big group of friends drinking from Friday 1 p.m. and then going to the stadium and just screaming their lungs out and then work through the week and then go again next week.
That's crazy.
They did a lot of research, and at NAC Breda they drink the most beers.
So they're all alcoholic.
And it's not even close. Like
That's crazy.
It's like there's the number 2, and then
In
a
the
lot
stadium.
of liters more, and then you have NAC Breda.
There's no way. I think
people-
most people here listening maybe don't even know NAC Breda.
It's a pretty famous club.
Yeah, but internationally, so this is a really nice choice. That
And I
you
would
picked
say
that.
also in NAC Breda, coming back to your reactive atmosphere, it comes for me really close to an English atmosphere or
Okay.
like an English experience, but then way better atmosphere because there's no drum allowed in the stadium, and also for
Oh.
away fans, they
Why that?
cannot. Yeah, they're quite controversial.
But away fans? Why
Yeah,
can they
so
not
away
bring-
fans cannot bring drums.
Even like Ajax fans, they have drums in the away.
Yeah,
usually, right?
they can't bring them. They're not allowed.
Who, like the stewards don't allow
Yeah,
them.
the
or
club
ultras
just
beat
says
them.
like you cannot bring a drum, and then they force their way in with a drum, and it always ends in a riot.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but a part of that, I don't agree with that, but I do get their statement about no drums in the stadium. NAC Breda is a really nice ground experience. Also, the city Breda is
It's in
lovely.
Limburg, right?
No, bro, Brabant.
Brabant, okay.
I think
I
for
don't
me,
know.
Brabant is the most funny district in the Netherlands, like the most nice people. And in Breda, you can't go wrong there.
Okay.
Like get her at the market, meet some fans there, go for a pint, and you're
Never
an
heard of-
amazing day.
Never heard of the city, just a football club. You heard that first, like do
It's a really good
do a
hidden
trip to
gem.
Breda and then check that out.
As a Dutchie myself, I've been to a lot of grounds in the Netherlands. His top 5 is solid. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, crazy. No PSV. I think that will surprise people internationally, but for us maybe not.
PSV is also really nice. Like it's just his top 5.
Yeah, no, but that's.
It's not saying like
seems
PSV is
a-
bad.
Seems
Yeah.
really valid, man.
Yeah.
Nah, PSV would be closer to the top 5, but it's mostly that I prefer local clubs and
Yeah.
the atmosphere of like friendly brotherhood that I mostly come around like NAC, Willem II, instead of the standard Ajax, PSV
Yeah.
and Feyenoord.
With your local team now being 4th in the Eredivisie, would you ever see a scenario where Utrecht is able to compete with Ajax and Feyenoord and PSV?
No, not really.
Why?
That's mostly because of the luck you have in the Eredivisie. Because now this season we're very, very lucky in a lot of games, because the first half of the season we won almost every game by 1 goal difference.
Okay.
And that could have gone the other way very, very quickly.
True.
And I've been experiencing that it goes the other way throughout all the seasons. And Utrecht is not that consistent. And I don't think they'll ever be. So we can never compete with the top 3. Yeah, the director mostly says we're going to attack the top 3, but he should really stop saying that.
I think also if you see like the stadium, how big it is in comparison to the Kuip, the Arena,
How big is it?
Philipsstadion,
30, 25? 20.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like look at an AZ and Twente, how much they struggle to beat Ajax, Feyenoord,
Yeah.
PSV consistent over the last
They
10
will
years.
have 1-2 seasons maybe in 10 years where they beat them, right?
I think there's too much of a gap between the top 3 and then you also have to look at from the academy,
Yeah.
the stadium, how much revenue comes from that, the sponsors, how much a Ajax gain from one sponsor and how much Utrecht gains from it. It goes way deeper than that, and in that scenario, I never see it possible. When you look at it in Germany, so in HSV, would you say HSV when they promote this year can make a chance for European football?
You're
Because-
gonna make me delusional, man.
No, but let's be honest.
Yeah, no, I think so.
Look
yeah.
at Köln.
I think so.
One year they're in Europe. The next year they relegate.
Yeah, no, I think it's possible. In Germany as well, because you have obviously a few more spots for European football. So last year you only had to finish 8th to go to the Conference League. And I think that's easier than finishing, like having a season where you finish 3rd or 4th. So it's like Heidenheim made it. So that's a tiny village club.
Yeah.
They made it to Europe last year. They played Europe this year. So it's very much possible. Especially with HSV. In Germany you have lots of sleeping giants like Schalke, HSV, where you know once they go up, even Kaiserslautern, Hertha, once they go up, the sponsors will be back. The big sponsors will be back. It's big cities, big fan bases. So I think we won't be catching up, we won't be catching Bayern. That's something else. But like top 5, it's totally possible for everyone in every of those big clubs in Germany, even those that are in the 2nd division.
I think that makes the Bundesliga also really attractive because Heidenheim is able to now Mainz is able
they
to
fell
go for
down a bit,
Europe.
but
And Mainz has been for 5 years in a row really shit.
They're always in relegation battle.
Like always.
This season now, okay, they fell down a bit, but they were for a long time. They were 3rd and 4th, like on track to qualify for the UCL, and that's crazy. So, it's still similar. Like you're not gonna as a Mainz, you're not going to challenge the big clubs for like consistent. The consistency is the key, I think.
Why is it not possible for Hamburg to compete with München, with Bayern?
Yeah, Bayern is something else
Why?
bro, in Germany.
Why?
It was possible for like 30 years ago. It was possible for us, but now, I mean, Bayern is like it's not possible for anybody. Like, okay, last year Leverkusen beat them, but even there, consistently, you're not gonna like. No one will ever overtake Bayern as record champion of Germany. The gap is just too big. If Hamburg ever make it to Europe, even Conference League, that's like, for me, that's the biggest thing ever. And I think like similar to you, like you qualify for Europe, you don't expect Utrecht to win the Eredivisie, like, right?
No, never.
So
Never.
same for me, like for us, what for them, for Ajax, Bayern fans is winning the league. For us, it's qualifying for Europe. I think we celebrate even more maybe if we do that, like than them because they win it every season.
Mate, it's the best year in about 20 seasons since I've come here.
See.
We finally reached Europe, and once a skip, but now I get to go there, so that's much better than winning a championship.
Exactly.
I'm more happy with the Utrecht reaching Europa than I could imagine a PSV fan with becoming second in the league.
Yeah, exactly. That's just different standards. I'd even say like Madrid winning the Champions League. I said that once. I think it would be celebrated less in Madrid than Hamburg just getting promoted to the Bundesliga in Hamburg. Because it's just for us, it's just they win it like every 2 years they win a Champions League. For us, we've never been promoted.
Talking about these global teams like Madrid, München, how they attract the more younger generation with big players and amazing merchandise items. How does an HSV and FC Utrecht still stay relevant in your opinion? When all the media attention goes to Bayern.
Yeah, that's the thing. We can't. That's also a reason why our clubs, we can't compete with the biggest in our country anymore. Like back in the days, without social media, it was maybe easier to catch up, honestly. Like on the one hand, clubs can now go viral on social media and like attract millions of followers, even if you're a shit club. But on the other hand, I think we've talked about that. I think this like Instagram algorithm, once you open Instagram, you open a new account, you will always, like you say you're interested in football, you get recommended Madrid, Bayern, Barça, the English clubs and all that. And you won't get a recommendation for like a second division side unless you like want to search for them. So you see the social media numbers where like in Germany now, Bayern I think have 50 million or some 40 million on Instagram. Ajax maybe, I don't know, a few millions definitely as well. 9 million.
What does HSV do?
And then compare that to Utrecht and HSV.
But what does HSV do to stay relevant?
Yeah, for us, it's more about the fans like in the city. For Utrecht, you said that, like most of them people in the stadium are from Utrecht. For Hamburg, I mean, we have probably quite good potential as well in terms of fan base. That's why I said we can qualify for Europe because Hamburg is 2 million inhabitants, like it's a huge city. But we don't really have the international fan base. Like it's not, I think that's almost impossible for us unless we play consistently in Europe.
Would you agree with the statement that nowadays we lose the connection because of modern football? Or would you still feel in the city a lot of attachments to your club?
I think back in the days, the players were way more you could engage with the players way easier. I don't know if it's in the Netherlands, there are open trainings for Ajax or something where fans can visit the training, take pics with the players.
Twice a month, I think, then you can visit them
I think
and
in
get
Germany
autographs.
it's way bigger.
Because in Germany it's really a thing.
But
I know.
Köln, they every week on Sunday night they post a photo of the training schedule.
Yeah,
so people know from Sunday evening when they can come watch.
There's maybe 1 or 2 open training sessions a week. The rest are maybe closed. But I've seen like in England, not sure, but I think Madrid, they never have it. Like you cannot go to the training ground. It's like way more protected. And even the players, they live in their own bubble. Like they can't go to normal restaurants in Madrid. They have like everything.
But that also
gated
makes
area.
sense with Real Madrid.
It makes
right?
sense, but
because
that's what you said. Like I think that way, as a fan, you basically have no connection to your players except like whilst okay, it was long ago, but maybe in the 70s, I know from Gladbach that the players every night before a game they went to the pubs with the fans and they drank beer. It's not going to happen these days, right? But they still won the Bundesliga every second season. But that was way deeper connection to the players.
Yeah, I do think that's a really fair point. Like the answer, from my opinion, from my perspective, would be that the clubs stay relevant because they seek the connection with fans. So what FC Utrecht now also does a lot on social media is post clips of the players with fans or good clips of fans going crazy or sing great songs. And people from home watch that and they're like, hey, I want to be part of that. And I feel like when the somehow smaller teams right now really invest in that, I think in that way you stay relevant in your circle and that's where you win your most trustworthy followers, right? You can make advertisements in Amsterdam as an Utrecht club, but that's not gonna
Won't
hit.
really work. And what you mentioned actually about players visiting supporters or drinking a beer with them, some players of Utrecht, after a big win, they mostly enter the supporters' home. So
That's really nice.
people are still there drinking beers and singing songs.
That's
and
cool.
then the players is working like, we're going to party with you guys. Then won't drink as much beer and vodka as the rest of us do. But they're still there. So that kind of
Some of them
creates
even
a connection.
drink a beer, right? Like,
Yeah, they could mostly. I haven't seen one drinking a beer actually.
okay.
So, but I can imagine that they do after they make a big win and have some holidays.
Talking about pain and loyalty as a fan, the both of you don't support the biggest clubs in your nation. With HSV being the biggest bottle shops of the country and Utrecht having a reputation of losing to somehow a Spakenburg, like an amateur side, what does it take for you to stay loyal?
Nothing actually. Yeah, you just keep
You just
coming.
do it. Well, There's no alternative, bro.
Yeah, but I can imagine. Yeah, I can't imagine losing the connection with the club in its entirety. But I can imagine that if over the seasons the mentality of Utrecht, like fighting for every inch on the pitch, and normally I celebrate throw-ins instead of goals.
This guy's crazy.
Yeah, when they're in a throw-in, I'm like, yeah, instead of like,
Let's go.
yeah.
Like the thing that matters for him, if you go watch him on the stands, like when they win a tackle, like he's more fired up than they score. Like of course he's happy. But
That's so cool.
Yeah.
You see him like become more happy when they win more tackles.
That's so cool,
It's so
man.
fun.
But that's also because of the mentality of the players actually. Like they fight for every inch because they have to, because they're not very good at playing football. But if that disappears, then if the fighting mentality leaves the club, then I can imagine that you start feeling less connected.
What did you feel after the final whistle against Spakenburg when you saw your team like kicked out of the cup, which is really big for your team? Like the Dutch Cup is a big tournament for you. What did you feel? Like you must felt disappointed, right?
Disappointment, comes throughout the match, because if you see them making 1-2, 1-3, 1-4, then this disappointment always starts kicking in.
Like imagine being inside the stadium, you see your team lose against amateurs. Like
It's painful, but in the end, after the final whistle, you just feel a bit disappointed in the club. But you know, they can have an off day, but not against Spakenburg. But you also feel some embarrassment for the people you brought in, because that game I brought some of my friends like, hey, it's a cup match, we're going to
Big
win
match.
easily.
he's such a big advertiser.
We started to drink beers beforehand and we were all full of confidence, and then you lose 1-4. So
And then you
that's-
just started drinking more and more beers.
yeah, out of pain.
Oh shit.
There
Hoping
was-
to not wake up the next day.
There was not a second in your mind that said, maybe next Sunday I'm not going.
No, never.
Never.
That's not the point. But you shouldn't talk to me about Utrecht the day after. But like the day after that, I was already focusing on next Sunday. Like, okay, we're going again. It's okay.
How does it feel for you after having bottle job the league so many times?
Bro, we've done it 6 times now. About to do it the 7th time now. We're so shit. But yeah, for me, I can't go every game, obviously, since it's 4 hours, 8 hours return.
No, okay, but you are one of the most dedicated.
I mean, I watch
fans.
every game, obviously, on TV. And
like wherever you are, in the airport at 3 a.m.
of course,
in
I
India.
gotta watch, bro. For me, it's I've just accepted it at this point. Back in the days when we were still in the Bundesliga, of course, we had different standards, and it was already horrible for us to get relegated. But then we thought, next season it's good to spend a season down. We're gonna be back stronger, and now, we've been there for 7 years. Now we just there's different standards. Even if we don't go up this year, like first 1, 2, 3 seasons, I was down for a whole week after bottling a promotion, obviously. Now, if we don't do it, bro, it's just not even that bad for me, because I still love the club. I know that next season I'll be there. So it's maybe it sounds
But
depressing for some of you.
You must cry.
I mean, I will.
I get used to it.
I've actually stopped crying. I've actually first 3 seasons bottling promotion, and also when we got relegated, I cried. Now I don't cry anymore, because it's just, I know we are a cursed club. Like we genuinely cursed. Like you guys know this. I just know that next season I'll be there again.
With HSV,
Yeah.
my friends from Köln, like I had an argument with him because he wants Köln, of course, back in the Bundesliga, because that is the biggest league. But he said, like with 100% confidence and truth in his voice, that the second league there is more beautiful. You
It's
have like
more authentic.
great clubs. Because he goes to every home and away game. Like big shout out to you, Dragos. But he said, like the clubs I come to, like he comes at Kaiserslautern, Karlsruhe, Hertha, Hannover, where they go with 50,000 Köln fans. Like here in the Netherlands, if you relegate, you are in the biggest
You're in
shithole
like
you can
village
ever
stadiums,
imagine.
right? Yeah.
Like the second league in the Netherlands is the most rigged league in the whole universe. Last week, Young PSV, this is like a U team. They started with Bakayoko. He has a transfer value of 35 million.
That's crazy. That's so rigged.
They lost that game 2-0. But imagine being in the second league. 1 week you play against a young Ajax with 78-year-old talent. You beat the hell out of them. You win 2-0. Then the week after, your rival plays against Ajax, the rival, and they face Bobby. They face Mika Gods. They face Kenneth Taylor.
They can just do that. There's no rules.
They can just swap them
Even
in.
though it's young Ajax, you don't have to be young to play that.
I'm really sure there
Is
are
there a
some
limit?
rules, but there have been a time in the early days where even Tadic, when he came back from injury, he started
It's
in
the
a
same
young
for
team.
Bayern though. When they played in the Dritte Liga, 3rd division in Germany, it's also their B team that played there. Alphonso Davies played there.
But
So
that
that's
is
like
that
so
is the
stupid.
most rigged thing ever. Like,
It's
and don't blame the clubs because I understand them. Like they
The
want to
system
have played them,
sucks, bro.
but the league should consider themselves like, how is that even fair?
And that's better in England because the youth teams of Premier League clubs, they have their own youth Premier League and they don't play in the English football system. And in Germany and the Netherlands, like let's be honest, B teams should not be in these leagues.
Then I also must say that in the second league of the Netherlands, and you have it also in the Dritte Liga in Germany, is how fucking shit are those youth games as an away fan? Like, for example, at PSV, I was there with Sam, and he was like, there were like 4 rows like in a plastic cage, and he was like, there's no way that's the away end, right? And I was like, yeah, bro, like a big team like the Graafschap can bring 2,000 fans to each game. They have to select like 200 people.
200 people.
Like on a cold Friday night, you lose 2-0 in the rain with -4 degrees. Like how fucked up as a fan
But is it in the
feel?
Netherlands not sometimes the case that when there's a club with big fan base away, they open the main stadium?
FC Utrecht is the only club that does it.
They do it?
Yeah,
The second,
FC Utrecht does it
Young
sometimes.
Utrecht?
Last week they did it for Volendam. They promoted
Okay,
it.
that's cool.
That's really kind gesture.
Because in Germany, that you saw that Gladbach did that with Duisburg.
Yeah.
That was so sick. 16,000 away fans in the 4th division.
Yeah.
They opened their main stadium. That was cool, but also just for special games.
I think Dutch clubs will say it's too expensive to open their stadium.
Yeah, it's not going to happen
Which
every time.
kind of makes sense if you have to open the Johan
it makes
Cruyff
sense.
Arena for 5,000
Yeah, it makes
fans.
sense. It makes sense.
What have been the most difficult time supporting your team, and what did you do to forget about it? Like, did you remember the most beautiful time? What was for you the most difficult time as an Utrecht fan?
Spakenburg.
The amateur game.
That was a worst game.
Losing against the amateurs. That was the most difficult one because you really didn't expect it, and it's really embarrassing, and you would hear that throughout the years. But also difficult times where last season when we were at the bottom of the league until like the winter almost. If I wanted good times, then I would go to a very good club. For instance, Ajax, they mostly become champions every year. And then you go there, but you just it's acceptance.
Acceptance. That's a good word.
acceptance.
That's a perfect word.
Okay, what was for you the most difficult time as an HSV fan? Like, there are so many.
There's so many.
But like, what was your worst?
Yeah, no, I really know what I'm going to say because on the pitch, there are so many bottle jobs, so I could have picked so many. But the most difficult time was during the pandemic, during Corona, bro, when there was you couldn't go to the stadium. I went 2019 to 2022. I didn't go to Hamburg to watch a game because for 2 years it wasn't possible. And there I really thought, because even in these years, of course, we bottled promotion, so we were shit on the pitch and there were no fans, and it was in general a shit time, I think. And then I really thought, bro, after this is all over, we're going to have half our stadium empty because we're so shit. And I really didn't know what to expect when fans are back. But of course now, like every game, the stadium is full, 57,000, because that matters the most to me. No matter how shit we are on the pitch, as long as I can go there, next week I go with my dad, 57,000 in the stadium, insane experience. It's just beautiful, man.
Time for our next segment, Dilemmas. Support your own club in the 5th division or support your top European giant that you have a soft spot for. So for you it's Juve and for you it's Inter. What would you choose? If you could go to both games, I have 2 tickets, one for Inter, one for Utrecht. Utrecht's in the 5th division, Inter.
Yeah, bring me to the 5th division, man.
Yeah?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
And you?
give me the fucking 5th division, bro.
No,
Yeah,
Juve
of
for
course.
you?
Yeah,
You don't get it.
It's not the same. I mean, my dad supports Juve. I like them, but it will never be the same as HSV.
Next dilemma. Next week there's the cup final in your country, 50,000 fans sold out. Or your team plays a match in your region. It's off season with 200 fans. And it's on the same day. I have again 2 tickets.
Pre-season friendly.
Pre-season friendly over cup final?
This one's more difficult because it's not competitive. But I'd still go to Utrecht playing a pre-season friendly with my mates because
Nice.
I don't even go to Utrecht for the football anymore.
No.
That's the thing. That's the thing. We go for the friends assembly, right?
Yeah.
That's what people underestimate so much. Like this, like now Utrecht is really playing well, but last year they were so shit. And there's like I've been to games with him that I like not him, but I didn't even watch the footy. Like I just
No, but that's
drinking
so
beers.
many people do that. You go for the community, for the friends, right? For the meeting with friends before, after the game, drinking pints.
Yeah, you hope for a good result actually, but if like half an hour in we're 2-0 behind, I'll keep singing and
It's
talking
okay.
to my mates,
Yeah.
and the match doesn't even bother me anymore.
That's so
also
cool.
fine.
That's so good.
Leave at the 88th minute and be quick out of the stadium, or wait till final kickoff and thank your players. And you are 5-0 down.
Yeah, if you've been there for the entire match while being 5-0 down, might as well stay to the end, right?
For real. Like that. I've never got people that leave. I mean, I know why they do it, for like to avoid the traffic and all that.
Yeah.
But if you go to a stadium, then you have to like it's part of the experience to stay there, because it's gonna be busy outside. So if you're there, you stay for the whole game, man.
Promoting to a higher division, but having a foreign investor, or stay small, stay true to your roots.
100% stay true. Like
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Qatar comes into FC Utrecht and says, we're going to go into the Champions League within the next 2 years.
Yeah, keep your money.
you don't want
need
that.
it.
You want to be for 15 euros on your seat.
Yeah, I'd rather be fighting for playoffs for European football than getting a foreign investor pumping a lot of money in it. Some players that don't really feel connected to the club and play Champions League every 2 weeks.
Even if they say like we're gonna make you the Dutch PSG, we're gonna beat Ajax, we're gonna be the biggest club in the Netherlands, you don't care.
I wouldn't be the same.
It wouldn't be the
Because-
same, right?
If you bring in the big players like Mbappe, Yamal, all into the side, leaving money aside, then of course we will beat Ajax, but it wouldn't be the same.
Time for a next segment. What the fucking hell is that?
Talking about local fans, you know, Arsenal played PSG in the Champions League. Did you see like the tifo, the atmosphere, all that? Did
Yeah.
you watch the game?
I saw the photo on Twitter and I'm not going to lie, I thought it was something made with AI. Because
Yeah.
I saw the tweet the day before and some bloke on Twitter mentioned how much effort they were putting in. Like you saw the big ropes in the stadium. I was like expecting a really crazy big banner.
And you just
then-
had that cannon. and I also made a video on that. Like the fans put in designs, right? But they just rejected all of them. But on top of that, talking about local, I've heard so many Arsenal fans on Twitter. You know, they have this tier system for like how like if you go to many games, you're like a silver, gold member, and then you have priority for those big games. And I've seen so many tweets of like silver, gold members that go to like 99% of games, and they seem to all have failed to get tickets for this game against PSG.
How come?
Because usually like it matters, like you have priority, but this one apparently they did a raffle, like a lottery for anyone, and then the result was that so many loyal fans missed out, and then there were like a huge chunk of those tickets went to tourists, which is, I mean, it's fine. They also want to watch games. But before the game, the club was like, we need the best atmosphere. Arteta made like videos. We need you all. We need the historical atmosphere. We need the crowd. And then they do this where they don't even give a chance to their priority members like to get tickets. And then the atmosphere was horrible. Apparently, like everyone that was there said it was a fucking library there.
I am
But
really
that's
curious to
different.
see. By the time we're uploading this, it should have gone live. But now, what I expect from the fans of Arsenal is a big protest. So the season ticket holder that wasn't able to come to that match.
Okay, season ticket holder is something else because that's almost impossible to get there.
Yeah, okay.
But
so there were still 40,000 loyal Arsenal fans.
yeah, but again,
The club
Yeah.
members who don't have a season ticket, they were fucked.
they were totally fucked. They were like, I went to 33 of 34 games this season. This time I didn't even get a chance. And then not just one, like
Yeah, okay.
hundreds.
But this is the whole problem in England.
Yeah.
The other fans are not loyal to the other fans. It's really
It's weird.
individualistic.
It's weird,
like
yeah.
the season ticket holder probably doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah,
so they won't. They will all turn up for the next home game.
yeah, of course. That's the thing.
And then, and in that way, you're never going to make an impact.
You're never
to the
gonna,
club,
it's
because
never
the
gonna
club
change.
says, yeah, the same is
The
full
money's
again.
coming in. It's
And the club is also used to a big atmosphere because look at the tifo they made.
Bro.
It was horrific. So they have no clue what it is to make a tifo. And then you also on Twitter saw Man City fans saying like, "This is how you make a tifo," but that's always also
yeah, the one with Rodri, right?
that's also printed shit.
At
Like,
least that was more creative though.
yeah,
It's
but
printed,
it's also printed shit.
Yeah, of
it's
course.
not a tifo like
course.
not a real one. Time for subscriber questions. I have one.
Okay.
So, what are the worst fans in the Netherlands you have seen?
Heerenveen.
Heerenveen is
SC
overrated?
Heerenveen. Ja, Friesland. Heerenveen is from Friesland. En Friesland is a country inside a country. So they have their own national anthem and their own culture and their own language. So when you go there at kickoff, they first play their national Fries anthem.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and it feels a bit weird. And you are whistling too. Like, it feels weird. And then afterwards, there's almost no atmosphere in that stadium.
Is it full though? Is the stadium kind of full?
Yeah, mostly I think like 80-90%. So pretty full because it's also pretty local because it's the only, aside from Cambuur, it's one of the biggest club in the region. But it's not full, not filled to the last seat.
But do they not feel Dutch? Or
It's a weird start. They don't identify as Dutch. They identify as Fries.
Yeah, but is it like Liverpool where they say not English with Scouse? They also kind of do that. Because Liverpool, they even whistle. They don't play English games there, England national team, because they whistle the national anthem. They wouldn't do that there, right? It's not that bad, right?
Nah, it's not that bad, but they want to differentiate themselves from the Netherlands. That's fine, but feels weird for me being not a Fries, more Dutch.
Yeah.
And that feels a bit weird. If you're asking one that sticks out, if you want to experience Dutch atmosphere, don't go to Heerenveen.
You've heard it here.
You've heard it here. That was
Love
episode 17 already with, again, a special guest. Thank you so much for your time and wanting to be in this episode. The three of us will go to an FC Utrecht game. I'm going to sort that. And Fiago wants to go to NAC Breda. So, Sander, if you want to go with him to NAC Breda.
I'll take you. We're all fun.
Oh, I love
nice
that, man.
One. That's also what groundhopping is about.
Exactly. Like, I would have never expected to go there. Now I want to go there.
Let us know what you think of the episode. Please rate it on Spotify. Leave a like under the YouTube video. Please comment your thoughts because trust me, we are reading the comments. We love reading them and we love your support. We see you guys next Wednesday.